We're doing Michael Bay's Ambulance.
That's giving it away.
Take one. Welcome back to HM and Big E Review Things. Today we are taking a look at the bombastic, action-laden Michael Bay movie, Ambulance. Ambulance was in theaters, and I think it just hit streaming. So we're talking about Ambulance. What did you think about Ambulance?
It hit all the check marks of a typical Michael Bay movie, and if you're not familiar,
For better or for worse, if
you're not familiar with his work, he's done all the Transformers movies. I think most of them, right? Mm-hmm. He's done Bad Boys,
The Rock,
Armageddon. So he was really quite doing a lot of stuff in the 90s and early 2000s, and he sort of didn't do so many things. He did a little bit smaller stuff for
like more recently.
And then this is sort of a quote-unquote return to form.
Right.
And so I thought the movie was typical Michael Bay. Within the first 5 minutes, this is a Michael Bay movie. Sunlight. The sort of angles. The casting, the jokes,
right.
The music. Everything spells Michael Bay about this movie. So I guess if you like Michael Bay and his work, I think you'll like this movie. If you really have no familiarity with Michael Bay, you might think this is what's going on here.
I think on the spectrum of Michael Bay, I agree with everything you said. I think on the spectrum of Michael Bay-ness of a movie, right, where something like, Bad Boys and like The Rock is more critically acclaimed stuff, is a bit more restrained, relatively speaking, and then you have like the Transformers stuff, which is just a visual blur. This is a pretty good medium in terms of like, there's a lot of stuff happening, but it's not crazy. I feel, he's not a subtle director, and I think we talked about this. That no one would use that word against him, and I think it's okay. Right? Not every director has to be subtle and, be really clever. And he's not trying to do that. And he's telling a simple story. And he tells it very dynamically, I think is the generous word that we can use.
Yeah.
I feel that he, we both have young children. I guess when your kids were younger, like when you give them a new toy, they just play with it all the time. So I think he just discovered drone camera footage.
Yes.
There was so much drone. Like I felt like I needed to take a gravel or something. Like I felt seasick or like there was so much camera movements that were just
you could say
up the building, turning and down.
Well, put it this way.
Yeah,
Michael Bay is known for his particular style.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say he's a good storyteller? Would you say the movie had a good story, had a decent plot?
I think it had a simple story. It's a tale about two brothers. Ultimately, the bank heist is the thing that kicks it into motion. But ultimately, at its core, I guess the story is about the two brothers and their relationship. Is that true? I don't know.
Right. And I don't know how much you're going to go into spoilers, but I found that, to me, was one of the biggest problems in this movie.
Okay, well, those are our overall thoughts. Let's get into spoilers, so official spoiler warning here. Let's... do we go through the plot? Or?
I think you could basically go through the plot and nitpick some stuff, but essentially, there's two brothers.
Yes.
And one is adopted into the family or something, right? Yes. So, Jake Gyllenhaal and...
Actually, so that's Yahya Abdul-Mateen II.
Yeah.
I thought they were. I thought they actually the acting was good.
Yeah.
Not great, but it was good for all three of the main characters. I thought they were decent.
No, the acting was fine. Yeah. It's just the premise I found off.
So the Yahya Abdul-Mateen's role apparently was originally cast for some other white guy. Originally,
right,
and then when they wrote the story, apparently there were some production problems with this movie as it was going on. But then the guy had some scheduling conflict, and then they found out they had to recast, and they found out he was available. So I think all of the stuff about adopted, all about like him not looking like his brother, that's all added. That's very Michael Bay.
Well, I wanted to ask this question, which is like, why make that choice? Because if you're going to make that choice, maybe there's some kind of payoff at the end, or they're trying to tell a certain tale. No. But it starts off with the two boys as children.
Yes.
So, okay, this movie's about these two guys. The problem I find with this movie is that these are not cheerable action heroes. I mean,
Right.
because they're bank robbers and their motives are not that clear. I think. I mean, they're kind of clear, but the choices they make are not that great. And I find that in a Michael Bay movie, and even more, they usually have a hero you want to cheer for. But
But I
when
think that's supposed to be Isa Gonzalez, like the EMT.
but they make her the main character. She's sort of the main character, but she's sort of not.
Right.
Right? The two brothers, they really emphasize their brotherness,
Yes.
brotherhood, and just it doesn't work.
But I think she is supposed to be the audience surrogate. She's supposed to be the good person that, you're experiencing all this pain.
Then make the two brothers bad
Right.
people and just leave it as she's trying to escape, because when he's, I guess the main character is the Yaya guy, right?
Yeah.
And
I think so, yeah.
He so he's down on his luck, and they establish early
Very
on,
not subtle.
very not subtle, that his wife is
Well,
dying.
no, that he's ex-Marine, he
Yes.
served his country,
Yes.
and his wife has cancer and needs treatment, and he has a new baby,
baby.
and he can't afford, and it's all very,
Right, but then he goes to his brother.
because he can't find work, and he needs money. The
needs
insurance
more money.
won't pay out for the...
Right, so he goes and tries to find his brother to get a loan or
Danny,
some
yeah.
kind of help, and he says he needs like $231,000, a very specific number.
Yeah.
And his brother's like, well, I'm going to do this bank heist right now.
Right now, I like that, though. I like that they didn't waste time.
Sure,
It was very
But
efficient story.
it's
backstory.
efficient storytelling, but unbelievable that this man, who's a good person, he's a Marine, so he,
Yes.
and he has a family. He would say, "Sure, let's go in a violent situation. I'll help you out. I have no idea about the plan. I have no idea about
Right.
if this is going to work or
He
not."
trusts his brother. His brother, who apparently has committed like 37 or 38 bank jobs
And
that they know about,
and they didn't get caught. He didn't
and,
get
and
caught,
he never gets caught. And he like runs a business.
and he doesn't wear a mask to the bank heist. There's a lot of problems with this. They're trying to set up this guy as a good guy, but then don't make him a Marine, because. Do Marines just do these jobs in 5 seconds after?
It's a desperation thing. This is the contractor, right?
Yes, but the contractor, even though it was a bad movie, was a little bit more believable because there are military contracts like this.
Yeah, I think believability is generally out the window with a lot of this stuff. Just like when we talked about Marry Me,
Yes.
and rom-coms having a pass on some logic gaps, I think Michael Bay action movies generally, you need to give that pass as well.
Okay, but most of his movies, the hero gets thrust into a situation
Right.
where he doesn't necessarily want to be, and then it's a little bit more believable. This guy, but this is okay. So, anyways, who cares? He goes into the bank heist. It goes terribly wrong.
I do like that, again, they do the bank heist with more than just the two of them, which makes sense, but they barely spend any time, introducing the other characters. They're just there. They're all going to die, and they all do die fairly quickly.
Yes, but here's the problem with I found with these two guys that you're not really cheering for, but you're kind of cheering for, is that I kind of predicted the ending, because I knew that
Obviously.
they're not good people. So
Yeah, they're not both going to get away and
Yeah.
live on an island
exactly
with their money.
So that was what it was unbelievable. Like, I know they were trying to play the Jake Gyllenhaal character where he's crazy,
Yes.
right? But then he's done 38 bank heists and got away with it. So is he that crazy? But they play him off as really crazy, so it doesn't really matter what happens to him at the end. He just thinks he's going to get to his island, right?
So they pull the bank job. Right at the end, it goes sour, and
Right in the beginning.
okay, right in the end of the bank job. I guess at the beginning, the cop comes in. Anyway,
The world's dumbest cop.
yeah. Anyway, they end up shooting a cop by accident, and then so an ambulance gets sent into the building to save the cop, and then they realize when it's just the two of them left that is their means of escape.
Yes.
I guess that's a very short-term solution, because why would they leave the ambulance driver on the ground? Why not just keep him in the car?
As a hostage, right?
Yeah, because the second that he wakes up, he's gonna say, "Oh, they stole an ambulance," and that's one of the easiest cars to track and to recognize. And he still has a siren
I guess
on.
they were panicking.
Okay.
So they just push him off onto the ground.
Right.
And then they drive the ambulance off, and it becomes
Because that was the main thing. Because that was how they figured out they stole the ambulance. Because they managed to get away. Because again, despite the usual logic gaps, the cops do check the ambulance. Not very thoroughly.
Right.
They check it to make sure that it's a real ambulance and that it's a real cop dying. That it's not the bad guy sneaking out.
Okay.
They do check, but the check is fine and they get to leave because he's
Right.
Jake Gyllenhaal apparently is hiding
He's hiding behind
a mesh net, and that's fine.
So they leave, and it becomes a wild goose chase. But essentially,
Yes.
the rest of the movie is then introducing other characters, totally unnecessary, right, to make it more wild and more personal in some ways.
Right. They introduced that special marshal agent SI. I don't even know what SIS.
But he's in a
stands
counseling
for.
session.
Oh no, that's the other guy. That's the FBI agent.
Okay, FBI agent. He's in.
But that's a good point. That why did there need to be two? One that was kind of an antagonistic and one that knew Jake Gyllenhaal's character. That seems like a weird, unnecessary addition.
None of those guys. It really mattered. You just needed one guy who was trying to catch them.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
And he was made it into a joke. He's got his dog. He's not even wearing the proper clothing. Drives a small car. A lot of Michael Bay.
Very Michael Bay.
Jokes.
Yes.
I also know that Michael Bay loves dogs. He has 3 or 4 dogs. And he features them in all of his movies. So that might be his dog. I don't know. Okay. But it's like one of those things where why even have this dog?
Yes.
And it plays out later where the dog's in the police car. So
Which
the captain's like, no, I don't want you to injure my dog. So stop the chase.
yeah.
So
But the chase has been happening then for like 20 minutes already, and
know
apparently
the dog
this massive dog in the back, the police officer didn't notice.
Yeah.
The dog didn't make any noise.
a lot of stuff like that. So I mean, the whole thing is I told you it's a weird tone because they're trying to play these guys as sort of good guys because now they're trying to do surgery, which was a kind of a joke. It was kind of funny, but sort of not funny.
Yeah, and then apparently while he's driving, he can donate blood.
He was donating
Because
blood.
he needed blood transfusion, and
he
he's
was-
a universal donor.
And he was doing the surgery with the paramedic.
Yes.
And-
Then the FaceTiming, the surgery,
Right.
and able to send like the vital stats to the other. Like I don't think phones can do that.
Nope, they certainly cannot. But there's a lot of these weird things that happen in this movie. You know, the funniest thing is I was thinking every time he shot an exterior of a car chasing, I was imagining the car transforming. Because it's the same shots as Transformers, the same lighting, the same chase sequence, the same music. And I thought they were just going to transform and it'd be a Transformers movie. But it didn't. It would have been better, I think, as a Transformers movie.
Just halfway the ambulance
Yeah,
transforms.
yeah. So basically, that's the movie. They do a lot of ridiculous things, and there's another antagonist introduced, which is the gangster.
Totally not necessary. I don't get
They
that.
have a firefight in his hideout, and people die. And the ambulance, how do they stop it? They just corner it because he has to go to the hospital.
Because his brother ends up getting injured. Yahya Abdul-Mateen's character gets shot, and then so I guess what's Jake Gyllenhaal's character's name?
Danny.
Danny drives them to the hospital and has to basically take his last stand there, and then the ending happens. I mean,
But even the ending has a ton of problems where they're trying to make it like a happy ending.
yeah,
It's really weird.
it's really weird because, like, I mean, even the very basic premise of it, where they really go out of their way to, once the ambulance chase starts, we can't hurt this ambulance. We can't take this ambulance down. There's a brother cop in there, homie. There's a brother cop in there.
Yes.
Meanwhile, this chase is
It's
flipping
destroying-
cop cars
yeah.
and
I mean,
destroying, killing civilians.
That's super Michael Bay, where it doesn't matter. We're killing hundreds of people, mowing them down. But
there's one character.
yeah, but no, and they're good people. That guy's a good person.
He's a
right. He's a good person. He so there's a lot. And he even FaceTimes his wife.
yes.
And to explain, to lie to her basically that
Yes.
he got a job
Yes.
and he's our lives are gonna be better now, and to establish this guy's a good person. Okay, like
he's just caught up, homie.
I'd rather him have been caught up, with his brother in a weird way where he is literally innocent.
Right, that he didn't know, and he was just getting dragged into it.
That he was dragged in. He was and that's more. You're rooting for him now,
Right.
And Jake Gyllenhaal's a bad guy, obviously, and then the girl's a good guy.
Right.
They're trying to work to stop, and then don't make him the brother. I mean, I don't see the reason for the brotherness. Anyways,
I'm okay with the I think the brotherness is like that's why he sticks by him. There's a moment in the film as well, but also just in the beginning. Why would you go along with this if you think this is ridiculous and he's being crazy? Why would Will go along with Danny? It's because they're brothers. They have a history. Okay, I'm okay with that part. I agree with you though. Yeah, the fact that he actively makes a choice to join this armed bank robbery,
Yes.
Does make it harder to kind of sympathize with him.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I was like, he's gonna get caught and he's gonna die, and
Yeah.
and the only person I'm rooting for is the girl.
Yes.
I'm not even rooting for that cop because he was so dumb to go into the bank. It's a totally empty bank, and he's trying to hit on a girl.
Yes.
Right. So I was like, okay, and somehow this guy who's lost all the blood in the world, he's fine. Like he
So
looks,
much blood.
he lost so much blood, but he's like, what happened?
Here's the gun.
Yeah. So, anyways, movie ends, and they siphon off some of the money to give to the poor nurse.
Yes. Which
No, not the nurse.
no, not the nurse.
The
They
mom.
give it to the mother.
Yeah.
The nurse takes it and gives it to the mother. Which is that how I don't know how bank robberies work. I think they generally do a pretty thorough accounting of where all the money went.
But that's what I mean. It's like this girl again, who's supposed to be the righteous person in the story.
Yeah.
She decides to help this other not so good person, but they're trying to establish he's a good person.
He's a good person.
Okay, and his family really needs it.
His family really needs it because
Right.
the American healthcare system is so broken.
Right. Well, that's
Look,
what
they've
happened.
made entire movies and shows about it.
I know, and documentaries.
If
But
someone has to cook meth to pay for his cancer treatments, okay, someone's gonna pull a bank
oh
job.
my goodness. Anyways, but then it was this is sort of a nitpick, but I don't understand. There's a scene where she goes and visits a dying girl. Is that
I
because,
had to think about that.
is that because they're trying to establish her humanity, or I thought that was her daughter?
I thought that too. I was like, wait, are they right at the end of the movie? So what is her name? Cam. Isa Gonzalez's character, the EMT Cam. She goes to the hospital after this entire traumatic experience, and she's looking up some files. And it's like, oh, what is she looking for? And then again, very Michael Bay-ish. One nurse comes, oh, wait, you can't do that. And then, it's you. And it's okay, you can do it. And it's just so like, what a weird moment. Anyway, she takes the file, and then she ends up visiting this girl. And yeah, I also thought, wait, does she have a daughter that she mentioned that I forgot about? And then eventually it did click that, oh, this is the girl from the very beginning of the movie that they spent 2 minutes on.
That just clicked for me.
Yeah, it's the same. That's the girl because in the beginning, they establish in one conversation that her job is just to get them in. You see them for 7 minutes while you're in the car, and then you move on to the next patient. You don't think about them afterwards, and so she's very cold. But she's through this experience, Homing, her heart has warmed, and she feels that she needs to connect with people.
Just too many protagonists. Too many people that you spend a lot of time trying to justify why these people are good people, instead of just making it very simple.
I don't know if it's too many protagonists. I think actually your point is actually good that there are actually it's unclear who the protagonist is, but you're spending a lot of time with characters.
Yeah.
There's some of these characters don't need this extra like ending epilogue where she visits this little girl. And like, why? That's not necessary. And then she walks off into the sunset.
It was disjointed and I would say kind of unfocused. And the last scene, where if you don't notice it, it's kind of weird, but they have epic music and they just do a very, very long shot of the drone footage of LA.
Yes.
And then it's like ambulance, right?
Yes.
And it's like he's trying to, and if you look at the title card, ambulance LA is highlighted. So it's like, I don't know what he's trying to do there. He's trying to tell this more epic than it needs to be story about LA.
Yeah, there's a love story. There's a bit of like love to the city as well, and kind of he's highlighting the city as we've seen a few directors do.
Right.
And I think Spielberg is coming out with a movie as well. And so I think, is he from LA or he must be?
He loves LA.
He loves LA. Yeah.
But look, this movie went way too long. It was 2 hours and 15 minutes. You could have easily cut 30 minutes from this
You could have
movie.
easily cut the entire like gang portion of it.
That's right.
That's about 30 minutes.
Okay, the gang.
Right? All the
portion of-
setup with the gang, and then the meeting at the hideout, and then it turning south. I think you could have cut all of that, and it would have been a tighter movie.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But Michael Bay likes doing a lot of things where he introduces side characters really quickly.
Yeah.
And then they're part of the story. Right. So there's about 3 characters that no one cares about, 4 characters maybe.
Yeah, because the big thing was like, oh, he makes this deal with this gang leader, and then his son dies. Did you know that was his son?
Nope.
I don't think that was established
Nope.
well at all.
Right.
And then he's very sad, and then you're like, why is he so sad about this random gang member? Oh, it's his son.
Right, now it's a revenge tale where he wants to kill these guys for doing that.
Yeah.
And it was just weird. Like, they're just trying to force a lot of connections midpoint in the movie to swerve the audience or whatever. But anyways, it is what it is.
I'm going to guess that your score is lower than mine. Because I don't know. I just the way we're talking about it now. We don't talk about our scores ahead of time. We actually try not to talk about the movie too much ahead of time. In general, we like to keep this as just open as it is. My score for Ambulance, unless you have anything else to add.
No.
My score for Ambulance is a B minus.
All right.
I'm being generous, I think.
I'm going to give it a C.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I mean, I thought it was an enjoyable movie. I wish they had cut 30 minutes. If they had cut the last 30 minutes, I mean, not like the entire 30 minutes, but 30 minutes of the film, I think it could have been a B plus even. Like, I think it's, like for a Michael Bay movie, it's all caveated, right? Because I think, when you're going into it, you're not getting, an everything everywhere all at once. When you came out of that movie, you were like, I have to think about, what this movie was trying to say. There is no thinking about what this movie is trying to say.
That's right.
It is
it's
good guy.
It's better than Moonfall, okay, but it's definitely
it is better than Moonfall.
It's better than
Moonfall. I think had a much larger budget than this. Actually, so I was reading up on this movie, and it was saying that Michael Bay. He wanted to do a smaller movie in the pandemic, and this was apparently shot in a really short amount of time and relatively low budget for him.
But then he got power hungry midway through, where he wanted to add things to make his movie bigger. Well, that's what I felt like it was. It should have been a small movie. Ambulance by nature, it's like a little contained box, not Armageddon.
Well, that's what he was saying, that he wanted to film something that people in a confined space and just kind of do a character thing. And
can you explain the part where the lowrider comes in with an automatic,
the
automatic
chain gun,
mowing down the cops, killing the chief, which we tried to like or something. It's like they're adding these points that it should have been a small movie, but then...
I don't know what the original screenplay contained, but it did say, in the Wikipedia, it said, I didn't read the source, but it was saying that it wasn't in the script, but one day Michael Bay found that 2 helicopters were available from the LAP, and they decided to shoot, he created that whole reservoir chase scene. Because he found out the 2 helicopters were available.
That's what I mean.
So that's the type of stuff. Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Oh, this is available. Let's just add, a 20-minute sequence that doesn't add anything else to the movie.
Well, to your point, it was the main character. He was available, so they brought him in. I'm sure in the middle of the movie, that FBI agent, that guy's pretty funny. He's available. Well, let's bring him in. Let's write him a side story. They put him in and just shoved into this mess. It should have been a very contained 1.5 hour movie about an ambulance chase.
It should have been 1.5 hours. Yeah.
Right?
How long was Speed? I'm going to guess 1.5 hours, maybe 1:45.
Yeah, it was not as 2 and it was much more efficient.
Yeah,
and the motivations of the characters were clear. You're rooting for those good guys. There's an established bad guy. You don't introduce characters in the middle. So much better movie in general.
Okay. Oh, for Speed, for sure. Maybe we'll go back and review Speed at one point. That movie has aged well. I like that movie. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's our thoughts on Ambulance. Have you seen it? Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about what we think. Until next time, keep watching things.
And please like and subscribe to our channel.